Hello, everybody. Happy New Year. We made it to 2022. I'm Teri Barr, your host of the PennyWise podcast from Lee Enterprises. Happy to have you join us for our first new episode of the new year. So guess what we're going to be talking about today? New you and a new year. And how about saving more money? Maybe like a resolution about saving more in 2022 or just getting your financial house in order. I love this topic. It's probably one of my favorites, and I'm so happy to have with us Sara Rathner. She is a personal finance expert with NerdWallet. Hi, Sara.
Hey, Teri. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year to you. So, how many people are you hearing about thinking, okay, I'm not going to do the gym thing. I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to dive in and try to get my finances and my money and maybe some savings in order. I'm going to start with that in 2022.
Oh, probably everyone. I mean, this is the time of year where you reassess, is my life going the way that I thought it would? And I think the answer for most people is no, for obvious reasons, because it's been a tough winter with the pandemic that seems to never end. But yeah, so that means we all have a lot of time in our hands to think about ways that we can make our lives easier. And nothing makes your life easier than having more money. So why not take some actions to save some more money?
Right. And I think what I have heard is, and it's probably the hardest thing to do, start by creating a budget.
Yeah, nobody likes budgeting. I don't like budgeting.
Okay, good. Thank you. That makes me feel better.
It is like homework. And I mean, who wants to do homework anymore if you've been out of school for years? So right. The thing is, it's really more, it's not so much about writing down everything and then shaming yourself for every dollar you spent on something frivolous. Like, don't do that to yourself. That's bad. But it's really just about giving every dollar you have a job. And sometimes that job is paying your bills, and sometimes that job is savings, and sometimes that job is saving for retirement. Sometimes that job is, paying for dinner out and, doing something fun. That's okay too. You can budget for all of those things. And that way, you know that no matter what you're doing, you have the money available to pay for it. So you are less likely to get into debt, less likely to have to pay interest on those purchases, and more likely to just have the cash on hand so you can pay for it outright and not stress.
That's so interesting to think about. We work so hard for our money, then why not turn around and have your money work for you too? Yes. I guess that's a good way to look at this. If this is something you're really going to push for, and start with the budgeting that we talked about. That's not the most fun, but I guess if you're making your money work for you, in the end, it could be so gratifying. So what do you suggest? What is the first thing that we should try to tackle?
So honestly, it's a values exercise. That's really what budgeting is. It's about putting your money into the things that are important to you and to your household. And that can change over time. And for many of us, that has changed a lot over the pandemic. The things that we spent money on in 2019, we might not have spent money on in 2020. Maybe we started spending money on them again in 2021 during hot back summer when we thought things would go back to normal again. We all started traveling for like 3 weeks. And then, and so we have seen over the past 2 years how quickly things can change at a large scale. And so as you are thinking of redoing the way that you manage your money or making slight changes to the way that you manage your money, you also want to think about what's important to you. Where do you want that money to go? What do you want to fund in your life?
I like that. Okay, what do you want to fund? And also, again, thinking about making your money work for you. So do we start with the things where we owe the most money? Can we also do something fun at the same time? What do you suggest?
Yeah, you can tackle multiple goals at the same time. It's very common to be paying down debt while building up savings, while making room in your life for fun. You don't need to deprive yourself of some of the things that you want to do just because you have financial obligations. It's just about planning so that when you are doing something fun, like travel or going out or buying some new something that you really want, a pair of shoes, a new sweater, whatever, that you don't need, but you just want, you are doing so with money you have planned to spend on that purpose. And you also know that your other money is simultaneously being allocated toward those debt payments, toward those savings goals.
Okay. What if you have one of those bigger goals? Shoes, sweater, that's great. But what what if you know
If
down
you
the
want to buy a
road,
house.
well, buy a house, buy a car. Uh-oh, I know I'm going to have to fix or maybe get a new refrigerator, something like that. How do you save for that?
So part of that is naming your goal. I find that that's really helpful because if you just have a general savings account, you might not spend the money within that account toward the goal that you really need to focus on at any given time. But it's really easy to open up multiple online savings accounts and name them. So you could have the down payment account, you can have the car repair fund, you can have the travel account, and you can make automatic monthly contributions of different amounts into each of these accounts, which is helpful when saving money for multiple goals at the same time. And then you can prioritize a goal. Maybe this is the year you really focus on saving up for a down payment, but you're probably not going to travel as much as you normally did. So
Okay.
less money in the travel fund, more money in the home buying fund.
So we need to remember there is, I guess there's got to be that give and take. So that's kind of an interesting thing to think about. I love how you also mention, using online to your benefit. Can you do that? Can you set that up for yourself so it
Yes.
almost becomes something you don't think about?
Yeah, we don't have to go to a bank branch and talk to human beings to do stuff anymore, which I love. I love talking to people, but I also love how easy it is to pick up your phone or use your laptop and open a bank account, set up an automatic contribution, check your statements, just check your bank balances before paying off a credit card. You can do all of that from wherever you are. I will say, if you're using your phone, make sure you are on your own data plan and not a public Wi-Fi network, because you want to keep your data secure. You've got a lot of private
Right.
information on your phone. But if you're home on your own password protected Wi-Fi, or if you're on your own data network, that's fine. So yeah, you really can, you can invest from your phone. You don't have to call anybody. These tasks no longer take hours, they can take minutes.
And I guess if you look at the bottom line, it's a new year. Does it mean people have to do this now, or can they do this anytime? I mean, what do you feel when it comes to budgeting is really the bottom line?
There's a lot of pressure to do things in January. Think
Yeah,
about how crowded gyms are in January and how empty they are by April. But you can do this any month. You don't have to make January the month you do all the things if you have too many things on your plate. And you don't have to wait. If it's later in the year, you don't have to wait until January to get started on something. You can start now, whenever now is. And you can also reassess your goals throughout the year, because something that made sense to you now, maybe 3 months from now, your circumstances have changed
mhm.
and your goal just doesn't make sense anymore. Or maybe your circumstances change for the better, new job, bigger salary. You can put more money towards some of your goals than you originally thought.
I guess in the end, be flexible with yourself. It's okay.
Yeah, absolutely build room for change in whatever financial goal you set, because change is a given. Think about where we all thought we'd be December 2019
Oh
and where
dear.
we are today, and it's totally different. So,
Yeah.
but change is not necessarily bad. It can also be a good thing too. So, maybe you're single thinking of buying a 1-bedroom condo, and then tomorrow you meet somebody that you're really excited about, and maybe that 1-bedroom condo doesn't make so much sense anymore. So
Got it.
maybe don't move in with somebody after knowing them for a day, but you get what I mean. In 6 months to a year, your priorities might completely shift in ways that you never imagined.
Ugh. Sara Rathner, one of my favorites to talk to about money and everything that kind of goes along with it as well. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
Everybody, PennyWise podcast happening new every single week for you. And we have just a lot of fun talking about saving money, budgeting money, all the money stuff. You'll find it right here on the PennyWise podcast. Again, thanks, Sara from NerdWallet. And we'll see all of you again next week. Thanks, everybody.